Because of their highly concealed identity, no one is truly certain about who or what the Council of Nine is. There are countless theories trying to explain what they could be, and some are more shocking than others. One theory states that the Council of Nine is a group of extraterrestrial beings responsible for guiding human evolution. The theory was first proposed by Andrija Puharic, a Croatian-born physician and scientist known for investigating parapsychology and psychophenomena. In 1948, a private research laboratory called Round Table Foundation was established by Dr. Puharic to investigate paranormal and psychic phenomena. Among the noted psychics studied at the foundation were the famous Irish medium Eileen Garrett and the Dutch clairvoyant Peter Peter van der Herk. In the same laboratory, Puharic also brought the Indian mystic named Dr. D.G. Vinod, who began to channel the Nine, or the Nine Principles. Puharic theorizes that Eileen Garrett, Peter Herkos, and Dr. D.G. Vinod were all extraterrestrial beings from the planet's spectra who were concerned about the future of humanity, wishing to help us evolve into a higher state of consciousness. Puharic became interested in stories about a Dutch psychic named Peter Herkos after being intrigued by reports that Herkos had developed paranormal abilities after suffering a head injury in a nasty fall. In 1956, he invited Herkos to the United States and began a series of experiments to test his claims. Then, in 1971, he met Uri Geller, a young Israeli man who claimed to have psychic abilities. Geller's powers were so convincing that Puharic believed he was dealing with a genuine phenomenon. Puharic became convinced that Geller was channeling messages from a group of extraterrestrial beings called the Council of Nine, and that they were using him to communicate with humans. These beings were said to be responsible for guiding human evolution. Puharic wrote several books about his experiences with Geller and the Council of Nine. In Uri, A Journal of the Mystery of Uri Geller, 1974, and Beyond Telepathy, 1962. Another well-known proponent of the Council of Nine theory is Phyllis Schlemmer, who claims to have been in contact with a member of the council, known as Tom. Tom is said to be Atum-Ra, a prominent ancient Egyptian god known to have shaped the universe. In his book, The Nine Secret Messages from the Future, Schlemmer relays Tom's messages, which warn of an impending apocalypse and advise people to take steps to prepare for it. The scientific community heavily criticized the theory behind the Council of Nine, which is generally regarded as pseudoscience. However, both Puharic and Schlemmer's researches have inspired many other scientists to investigate paranormal and psychic phenomena. Even though their works may be controversial, there is no denying that Andrija Puharic and Phyllis Schlemmer sparked an interest with what many regard as pseudoscience. In his book Briefings for the Landing on Planet Earth, British parapsychology writer Stuart Holroyd revealed that the Council of Nine, also known as the Great Ennead, is a group of 9 powerful beings who are said to have created the universe. The Council of Nine primarily appeared in ancient Egyptian texts and later in Greek mythology. In both cases, they were associated with the creation of the universe. The Great Ennead is a group of 9 deities in Egyptian mythology who are worshipped at the temple of Heliopolis. The Ennead includes the sun god Atum, his children Shu and Tefnut, Geb and Nut, and Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys. The Ennead rose to prominence in dynasties 5 and 6 and remained an essential part of Egyptian religion until the Ptolemaic period. The Great Ennead was just one of several such groupings of 9 deities in ancient Egypt. Other notable examples include the Ogdoad of Hermopolis and the Ennead of Memphis. The Heliopolitan Ennead was not universally worshipped throughout Egypt. In fact, the priests of Ptah at Memphis celebrated Atum as superior to the 9. This reflects that there was no single unified religion in ancient Egypt, but a complex tapestry of beliefs and practices. The Council of Nine's teachings is similar to that of other New Age groups, such as Theosophy and the Ascended Masters. They advocate for a shift in consciousness, away from materialism and towards spirituality. They also claim that we are currently amid a significant evolutionary leap, and that the Council of Nine is here to help us through this transition. Some have criticized the Council of Nine's message as racist, due to their claims that the black race is not of divine origin. However, others have praised the group for their progressive views on gender and sexuality. Whether the Council of Nine is real or not, their message is an exciting example of New Age thought, and their influence can still be seen today in the works of authors such as David Wilcock and Corey Goode. Dave Hunt, an American author, and other writers have argued that the Nine may have been part of an interdimensional governance structure in ancient Athens, where a Council of Nine divinely inspired archons rule. Each Athenian Nine supposedly had his ethereal counterpart drawing from the universal knowledge. It is possible that the Nine was also responsible for passing down the teachings of Plato and Aristotle to future generations. If this was the case, it's no wonder how these philosophers profoundly impacted the world. The Nine may have also been behind the founding of the Templars, a secret society that has been linked to numerous influential individuals and organizations throughout history. If the Nine truly did exist, then their influence can be linked back to many of history's most significant events and movements. In Schlemming's book, The Only Planet of Choice, the Council of Nine is said to be working towards a new age of enlightenment for humanity. They are believed to be helping us in awakening our true potential and creating a more peaceful and harmonious world by influencing the course of history through their thoughts and actions. The Council is also said to work with aliens or extra-dimensional beings to help us advance spiritually. They are said to be helping us evolve into a new species known as Homo noeticus, or the self-knowing human. There is very little concrete information about the Council of Nine's activities. However, their message has inspired many people to explore their psychic abilities and work towards a more spiritual world. The Nine, it seems, was not only the subject of top-secret government experiments, they may well have been the product of them. The CIA's MK-Ultra mind control project is one of the most shocking and mysterious episodes in the history of the United States. For over 2 decades, the CIA conducted secret experimentation on unwitting human subjects to develop techniques for controlling the human mind. The methods used included drug testing, psychological manipulation, and sexual abuse. Unfortunately, the experiment results were often disastrous, causing physical and mental damage to the participants. Army Dr. Andrea Puharich was deeply involved in the CIA's notorious MK-Ultra mind control project in the 1950s, working alongside infamous Dr. Sidney Gottlieb to experiment with various techniques to change or induce thought processes. This included the use of drugs, hypnosis, and even beaming radio signals directly into the subject's brain in an attempt to create the impression of voices in their head. Significantly, he was engaged in this work at the same time that the Nine made their first appearance at the Roundtable Foundation. The foundation, now known to have mainly been funded by the Pentagon as a front for its rumored medical and parapsychological research. Puharich was still working for the CIA in the early 1970s when he brought Uri Geller out of Israel. Geller has since admitted that Puharich hypnotized him and suggested that he was in touch with the Nine. It was only after this suggestion that Geller began to experience psychic phenomena. This raises some disturbing questions about how much influence the Nine may have had over Puharich, and how much control he had over their communications. The Council of Nine theory has been criticized by many people, including some who believe in the existence of secret societies. Some critics claim that the theory is based on unsubstantiated claims and lacks concrete evidence. There is also criticism that Puharich's background with the CIA cast doubt on his credibility. Additionally, Phyllis Schlemmer's claims about the Council of Nine have been criticized for being too vague and lacking in detail. Despite the lack of concrete evidence to support the existence of the Council of Nine, the theory has gained significant traction in recent years. This is likely due in part to the fact that some high-profile individuals have been associated with the theory, including the former Senator Claiborne Pell and UFO funding source Hans Adam II, Prince of Liechtenstein, and the Canadian businessman Maurice Strong. In addition, many books and articles have also been written about the theory, which has helped spread its popularity. Could it be that the 9 were nothing more than unwitting test subjects, their extraordinary abilities merely resulting from experimental tampering? Or is there something more sinister at play? Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: the 9 have always been shrouded in mystery, and it seems that mystery runs deeper than anyone could have imagined. Back in 1983, the CIA wrote an obscure report on the Gateway experience, claiming that an altered state of human consciousness could transcend space and time. Declassified in 2003, this 29-page document was titled Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process. It's thought that the report was part of a CIA investigation into the use of mind control and hypnosis in. It's a dense and wordy report that touches on everything from neuroscience to quantum mechanics, shifting between hard science and pseudoscience with the ease of a tightrope walker. The CIA is essentially exploring the idea of inducing an out-of-body experience that might allow them to tap into some higher realm beyond reality. According to the report, the universe consists of a complex system of interacting energy fields, in which states are just variations in energy. Human consciousness is no different. It's just a vibrational pattern of energy. When hemisync is achieved, the report says it can induce an altered state of consciousness in which a person's consciousness is released from the physical world and turned into a pure field of energy. Now let's get to the last and most important part of the document. Please pay attention. (28) Gateway Method. Having put the gateway experience in context by postulating a structural outline of how and why it seems to work, and having shown what it is designed to achieve, the time has come to examine the specific techniques which comprise the gateway training process. These techniques are designed to enable the user of the gateway tapes to manipulate the high-energy states, which can be achieved if the user continues to work with the tapes over a period of time. The amount of time required to reach advanced energy states and to fully exploit the techniques varies with the individual, the sensitivity of his nervous system, his general state of mind, and the extent to which he may have previously developed facility in related techniques, such as transcendental meditation, are all pertinent factors affecting the speed at which he may expect to progress. The gateway process begins by teaching the individual participant to isolate extraneous concerns in a visualization device called an energy conversion box. Next, the participant is introduced to a method of encouraging his mind and body to strive to achieve a state of resonance through the utterance of a single tone, a monotonous, protracted humming sound that sets up a feeling of vibration, particularly in the head. He engages in this resonant tuning, as it is called, by humming along with a chorus of such sounds that are contained on the gateway tape. Following this, the participant is exposed to the gateway affirmation and is encouraged to repeat it to himself as he hears it repeated on the tape. This affirmation is a statement to the effect that the individual realizes that he is more than merely a physical body and that he deeply desires to expand his consciousness. 29. Hemisync introduced. After that, he's exposed for the first time to the hemisync sound frequencies and is encouraged to focus on and develop a perception of and appreciation for those feelings which accompany the synchronization of brainwaves that result. Next comes the technique of progressive and systematic physical relaxation, while the hemisync frequencies are expanded to include additional forms of pink and white noise, designed to put the physical body at the virtual threshold of sleep, as well as to calm the left hemisphere of the mind while raising the right hemisphere to a state of heightened attentiveness. Once all of this is achieved, the participant is invited to envisage the creation of an energy balloon, comprised of an energy flow beginning at the center of the top of the head and extending down in all directions to the feet. The energy involved in this flow then proceeds up through the body and back out into the balloon pattern again. The energy balloon, which sets up a pattern very reminiscent of the cosmic egg discussed earlier, not only enhances bodily energy flow and encourages the early achievement of a suitable resonance state, but is also designed to provide protection against conscious entities possessing lower energy levels, which the participant might encounter in the event that he achieves an out-of-body state. It serves as a precautionary purpose in the unlikely event that the participant's first out-of-body experience involves direct projection outside the terrestrial sphere. 30. Advanced techniques. Having reached focus 10, the participant is now ready to endeavor to achieve a state of sufficiently expanded awareness to begin actually interacting with dimensions beyond those associated with his experience of physical reality. This state is called focus 12 and involves conscious efforts on his part, while additional forms of pink and white noise enter the sound stream being directed into his ears from the gateway tape. Once the participant has achieved this state of greatly expanded awareness, he is ready to begin employing a series of specific techniques or tools, as the Monroe Institute characterizes them, which enable him to manipulate his newly found expanded awareness to obtain practical, useful feedback of value for promoting self-discovery and personal growth. Specific techniques involved are described individually below. A. Problem solving. This technique involves identifying fundamental problems which the individual wishes to see solved, filling his expanded awareness with his perception of these problems, and then projecting them out into the universe. In this way, the individual enlists the assistance of what Monroe Institute calls his higher self, in other words, his expanded consciousness, to interact with the universal hologram to obtain the information required to solve the problem. This approach may be used to solve personal difficulties, technical problems in the realm of physics, mathematics, practical administrative problems, and so on. Responses to the problem-solving technique may be received almost immediately, but often they come based on developing intuition over the next 2 to 3 days. Frequently, the response comes in the form of a sudden, holistic perception in which the individual suddenly finds that he simply knows the answer in all of its ramifications and completely in context, sometimes without even being able to put his newly found perception into words, at least initially. In some cases, the response may even arrive in the form of visual symbols, which the individual will see with his mind while he is in the focus 12 state, and which he will have to interpret after he returns to normal consciousness. B. Patterning. This technique involves the use of consciousness to achieve desired objectives in the physical, emotional, or intellectual sphere. It involves concentration on the desired objective while in a focus 12 state, an extension of the individual's perception of that objective into the whole expanded consciousness, and its projection into the universe with the intention that the desired objective is already a matter of established achievement, which is destined to be realized within the time frame specified. This particular methodology is based on the belief that the thought patterns generated by our consciousness in a state of expanded awareness create holograms which represent the situation we desire to bring about, and, in doing so, establish the basis for the actual realization of that goal. Once the thought-generated hologram of the sought-after objective is established in the universe, it becomes an aspect of reality which interacts with the universal hologram to bring about the desired objective, which might not, under other circumstances, ever occur. In other words, the technique of patterning recognizes the fact that since consciousness is the source of all reality, our thoughts have the power to influence the development of reality in time-space as it applies to us, if those thoughts can be projected with adequate intensity. However, the more complicated the objective sought, and the more radically it departs from our current reality, the more time the universal hologram will need to reorient our reality sphere to accommodate our desires. Monroe trainers caution against attempting to force the pace of this process, because the individual could succeed in dislocating his existing reality, with drastic consequences. C. Color breathing. The next technique is called color breathing, and is designed to use the expanded awareness and highly focused attentiveness associated with the Focus 12 state to imagine various colors in a particularly intense and vivid manner, so as to use them to resonate with, and, in turn, to activate the body's own energies. Fundamentally, in terms of practical application, it is a healing technique which is designed to restore the body and to enhance its physical capabilities by balancing, revitalizing, and returning bodily energy flows. It is predicated on the principle that the body's electromagnetic field is capable of altering its resonance pattern so as to entrain energy from the Earth's electrostatic field for its own use. The various colors envisaged in the imagination as part of the technique cue the mind as to which frequencies and what specific amplitudes are desired in connection with this entrainment and the subsequent alterations in bodily energy flow patterns. That color has the capacity to affect the human mind is well known, and the effectuality of color in certain kinds of healing is a demonstrable fact. For example, the application of intense blue light to an area of physical tumescence leads to a relatively rapid and easily observable reduction in the swelling, while red, and to a lesser extent, yellow, has quite the opposite effect. However, in the hemisync application of the technique, external light sources are not involved. Rather, the mind is the sole agent of healing and revitalization. D. Energy bar tool. Magic wands and enchanted scepters have been part of the folklore and occult practices of many cultures. The scepters, staffs, and maces carried by monarchs and high priests alike occur with such frequency in the history of bygone eras as to suggest that, at the very least, these items are aspects of some type of archetypical symbol which the human mind seems to appreciate, perhaps subliminally. In any case, the energy bar tool technique involves envisaging a small, intensely pulsating dot of light which the participant charges in his imagination with enormous energy until it is virtually pulsating. The participant then extrudes the dot into the shape of a sparkling, vibrating cylinder of energy, which he then uses to channel force from the universe to selected parts of his body for purposes of healing and revitalization. E. Remote viewing. In addition, the energy bar tool is used as a portal for initiating a follow-on technique called remote viewing. In this context, the participant turns his bar of energy into a whirling vortex through which he sends his imagination in search of new and illuminating insights. The apparent purpose of the symbolism involved in the vortex seems to be to cue the subconscious and to convey its instructions as to what the participant wishes to do, but in terms of nonverbal symbols which the right hemisphere of the mind is capable of understanding. F. Living body map. This technique provides amplification for the application of the energy bar tool as a means of healing specific areas or systems of the human body. The configuration of the participant's body is imagined, and then the various major systems such as the nervous and circulatory systems are envisaged in appropriate colors within the confines of the outline being held in the imagination. The energy bar tool is then applied to energize, balance, and heal in whatever manner the participant desires. In the process, the participant visualizes various streams of colored energy flowing out of the tool into the organ system or area upon which the revitalizing or healing application is being made. Since colors are the results of different wavelengths of light, which is to say, energy at various frequencies, this technique operates on the assumption that as the human body is composed of energy, it can be vitalized and healed through the additive application of additional energy, provided that the energy is applied in the appropriate form. G. Focus 15. Travel into the past. All of the preceding techniques are conducted at the level of expanded awareness known as Focus 12. However, the technique of time travel into the past involves a further expansion of consciousness through the inclusion of additional levels of sound on the hemisync tapes. Some of the sounds are probably merely an intensification of the basic hemisync frequencies, being designed to further modify brainwave frequency and amplitude. Other aspects of the added sound patterns appear to be designed to provide subtle, almost subliminal suggestions to the mind as to what is desired by way of further expanded consciousness, so as to support the verbal suggestions and instructions also contained on the tape. Even the instructions are highly symbolic, with time being visualized as a huge wheel in the universe with various spokes. each of which gives access to a different part of the participant's past. Focus 15 is a very advanced state and is extremely difficult to achieve. Probably less than 5% of all participants in any given gateway experience actually fully achieve the Focus 15 state during the course of the approximately 7 days of training. Nonetheless, Monroe Institute trainers affirm that with enough practice, eventually, Focus 15 can be achieved. They also state that not only the individual's past history is available for examination by one who has achieved Focus 15, but other aspects of the past with which the individual himself has had no connection may also be accessed. Focus 21. The future. The last and most advanced of all the focus states associated with the Gateway Training Program involves movement outside of the boundaries of time-space, as in Focus 15, but with attention to discovering the future, rather than the past. The individual who has achieved this state has reached a truly advanced level. Except in unusual circumstances, it is probably not attainable except by those who have conditioned themselves through long application of meditation, or by those who have practiced long and hard through the use of the hemisync tapes for a period of months, if not years.